Hey math kids, today we're going to talk about increasing and decreasing, and we're going to start with a graph that looks like this. They give us the point -1, 3. They tell us it goes through the origin. We get the point 2, -4, and they call this f of x. Okay, it just says find the intervals where f of x is increasing or decreasing. So we'll say increasing, decreasing. Okay, so if we go from left to right and we're going uphill, these green spots are considered going uphill, okay? And so the way that we're going to write that is we just look at the x values of those 2 points. And if we're going to the left of this x value, which is -1, so x is less than or equal to -1. Now if we're going to the right from this point, which the x value is 2, we say x is greater than or equal to 2. Okay, so that's everything on increasing. Now decreasing is going to be this purple section right here. And so we can represent that with a single inequality. We can say x, when x is in between those two x values, so -1 and +2. So when we're going uphill, as we travel from left to right, we call it increasing. If we're going downhill, we call it decreasing. Okay, now we're going to move on to the next example. And it says find the intervals where these are increasing and decreasing. Let's see, that's a plus sign. Then we'll do it on here too. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to find the derivative first. So we get -2x. All right, hold on. This is a 3. All right, let me try that again. Okay, so this is a 3. Sorry about that. So we get -3x squared plus 6x, and that's our derivative. Now we want to know where the derivative equals 0, because when we have a curve like this, we change going uphill and downhill at those points. So we set this equal to 0, and we use whatever methods we have at our disposal. So I'm going to factor this. I'm going to take out a 3x. So that's just x plus 2 that's left over, -x actually. Then we set each of these equal to 0. So 3x equals 0, -x plus 2 equals 0, divided by 3, so x equals 0, and I'll just add x to both sides, and then 2 equals x. Okay, so if we're doing a sign diagram on this, we're interested in 0 and 2. We just need to choose numbers in between those areas. So I'm going to choose -1, 1, and 3. And what we're going to do is we're going to plug it into the... We want to know if it's going uphill or downhill. So since we're talking about the change, we're going to plug it into the derivative. Now, I think it's best if we plug it into this version. So if I plug in a negative right here, this outer piece is going to go negative. If I plug in a negative right here, it will make this positive, and positive plus positive is positive. And so if we multiply a negative times a positive, overall we get a negative. Now if I plug in a 1 right here, 3 times 1 is going to be positive. If I plug in a 1 right here, 2 minus 1 is going to also be positive. And so positive times positive gives me positive. If I plug in a 3 here, I get a positive. If I plug in a 3 here, -3 plus 2 would give me a negative answer. Positive times negative is negative. And so to write our final answer, the intervals where this is increasing, it's wherever the plus sign is. So it's going to be in between 0 and 2. And then decreasing is going to be when x is less than or equal to -1, and when x is greater than or equal to 3. Okay, let's go through the same process. So once again, we find the derivative, see where it equals 0. So 12x cubed minus 24x squared. And then the 2 goes away. Set that equal to 0. Factor out a 12x squared. And then we're left with just x minus 2. Okay. If we set each of these equal to 0, divide by 12, and then square root, all of that just leads us to x equals 0. And then this one we'll just add 2 over, and so x equals 2. So these are the two places on our sign diagram that we care about. Once again, it is the same two places. That doesn't always happen, but we'll pick the same numbers, -1, 1, and 3. I'm going to plug it into this version. Now, no matter what I plug in here, this is going to be positive, so I don't need to worry about that. And positive times whatever doesn't change it. So I really only need to focus on this now. So if I do -1, that's going to end up being minus. If I plug in a 1, 1 minus 2 is also going to give us a negative. Then I plug in a 3, and we end up with a positive answer. And so if we're talking about increasing, it's going to be greater than 2, greater than or equal to 2. And decreasing, it's going to be x is less than or equal to 2. Okay, let's keep moving on. Okay, we got one more. Let's see if we can get through it. So this is f of x. Okay, so they want us to prove that the derivative is -2x, x minus 3, over x minus 1 squared, x plus 3 squared. Okay, so what I think they did, what they want us to do first, is we want to factor this. And so we're going to rewrite the bottom as x minus 1, x plus 3. Okay, now we want to do the quotient rule. And I always get mixed up on the quotient rule, so I'm going to go back and I'm going to cheat and look in the book. But remember, you can use your cheat sheet as well. Okay, so we take the derivative of the top is the first thing, so that's just 2. And then we multiply that by the bottom. Then we subtract that and we do the derivative, or just the top. And then we times that by the derivative of the bottom. So the derivative of the bottom is going to be a product rule, so I'm going to write that right here. So it's the first times the derivative of the second, which is just 1, plus the second times the derivative of the first. So it's really just x minus 1 plus x plus 3. So x minus 1 plus x plus 3. And then this is all over x minus 1 squared. This is from the quotient rule. X plus 3 squared. Okay. So it really just comes down to a bunch of simplification. Hopefully a bunch of stuff cancels out. But let's see. So we have x and x. bring this over here. Okay, so x and x right here, so this is 2x plus 2. And if we multiply those out, we do 2x times that, so that's 4x squared plus 4x minus 6x minus 6. And we'll just distribute a negative to all those, so we change all the signs. Okay, so we've taken care of this piece. Now I'm going to distribute the 2 first, so I get 2x minus 2. And then that's done, and I just need to distribute it right here. So I get 2x squared plus 6x minus 2x minus 6. Okay, now we have all those, and then we see that the bottom is already fine. It already matches. So I'm not going to worry about that. I'm just going to try to get the top to be the same. Okay, so we have 2x squared in that. That makes negative 2x squared. I'm going to combine those. This is 4x and then minus 4x. So we just have 6x left over. And then these both cancel. And so if we want it to look like the top over here, we just need to do factor out a negative 2x. So we get negative 2x, and we're left with x minus 3. And then we still have our bottom from the quotient rule. And that's it. Now, I lost my place in the book. And so the last thing we need to do is just state whether it's increasing or decreasing. And I actually have a class starting right now, so I'll do a part 2 that just finishes that up. See ya.